Welcome to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today he's going to be talking with Jim Alloway with the Pilot Dogs, so stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Christopher is going to be talking again with Jim Alloway with the Pilot Dogs program up in Columbus, Ohio. Prior to our start of this, we were talking with Jim and some of the individuals in the organization, and I'm really impressed with Pilot Dogs.
Thank you for having me. July is Disability Month, and Disability Month means that we take this time and educate people, other folks, about our visibility, and be able to bring awareness on things that we may need in our community. And also, the last week of July is Americans with Disabilities Act anniversary, and also Ohio Service Dog Awareness Week. And so, therefore, we take that opportunity to allow businesses owners and allow different businesses to contact us and talk about how they can make their establishment better and make it more accessible for folks with service dogs, folks with other disabilities. And, you know, it makes me proud when I get a phone call and I hear somebody saying, "Chris, can you come and talk to us and kind of guide us in a way that we could be more accessible for people in our community, so we're not leaving no one out." And so that makes me proud. And talking about a little bit of technology, our service dogs and guide dogs are a big help to us, just like any low tech. I could take this cup, and this may be the only cup that I can hold on to. And if that cup is the only thing I can hold on to, that's a little low-tech item that I can use every day in my life. So service dogs are low-tech and are able to help us in our daily life in every day. And today, I invited the director of Pilot Dogs back to talk with us about Pilot Dogs and guide dogs and other services they may offer. And I'm going to turn this over to Jim and let him tell us a little bit about all the different services that they do for individuals with disabilities.
Thanks, guys. Really do appreciate getting an opportunity to talk about Pilot Dogs. It is an honor to be here. It's an honor to talk about everything that Pilot Dogs is doing as we continue to grow and continue to provide as many services for people that we can. And even though our mission statement's probably 3 or 4 sentences long, it can really be drilled down to we help. And it's a core value that we all share and we all embrace. And so we are starting off anybody that needs orientation and mobility, also known as O&M training. We've got a certified trainer. Folks come to us and stay for a week. They don't pay for any room and board or any travel. We take care of all of that. And that is completely independent of whether or not they're getting a dog. Somebody could call us and say that they just need help with the white cane work. And we'll say, great, figure out a time and we'll get you here and we'll make you better. We also offer traditional guide dogs. We are working daily on improving the program. So I've got a dog training background, but I also have this mindset of continuous improvement, which isn't revolutionary. Any good business follows it. If we find something that's bigger, better, faster, we're going to make a change and do it. And so we are continually increasing and upping the ante on the expectations for our guide dogs and for the performance and the longevity of them. We are also offering school resource dogs. veteran assistance dogs, veteran PTSD dogs. Hopefully, in the near future, doing some kind of therapy dogs for hospitals. We're getting close to getting that deal worked out. And also narcotics and arson and bomb detection dogs. So what we're really trying to do, as a lot of people know in the industry, if you start off with 100 dogs at the beginning of the year, you end up with 50 that make it as guide dogs. We've got 50 other dogs that may be great for therapy, may be great for narcotics detection, may be great as a service dog for a military veteran. So we want to repurpose those dogs as best we can into another category that fits with the motto of we're here to help. So that is all in the works. We're continuing to add people, add resources, build buildings, and just grow to be the best we possibly can be.
Where do you find your dogs?
Ultimately, we should have a breeding program that includes a handful of stud dogs, but then anywhere from 40 to 50 breeding females. That is a massive, massive undertaking, because you can't just go out and find somebody with a 2-year-old dog that is a great breeding dog and say, hey, we'll give you some money and we'll buy the dog from you. People don't sell dogs like that. So really we have to start with puppies. We buy puppies every single month. We are constantly evaluating breeders. We've got one person here, Carmen, that is dedicated solely to dog acquisition and then genetics and reproduction. And her job is to continually make sure that we get the best bloodlines in here, and then that will lead to future breedings. So right now, dogs come in because we're out buying them, or we're getting them through a breeding co-op that we've got with all of the other guide dog schools.
Several buildings in which it's going to foster the breeding. Is that correct?
So we don't have them yet. We are working on that. I would say in the next 18 months, we will have a new genetics and reproduction building built. It's about 5,000 square feet. It's going to connect to another building that we have that we use for puppies. So there'll be this nice migration of puppies are born, go to about 3 weeks, then they go to another section of the building. Then they go into this, the final training building that sets them off to their co-pilots and gets them into raising homes.
I know that you were talking about maybe a couple years ago redoing pilot the school, and can you talk a little bit about what's going on there, what folks can maybe consider when they're coming, what they're going to be being or doing?
We evaluate everything that we do, and we do everything we can to make sure that we're on a path of improvement that is driven 100% by what are our student needs, what are our graduate needs, what are our dog needs, what are our associate needs, what are our volunteer needs. So we listen to everything that our students tell us. And when they're here, we're constantly getting feedback from them about what they like, what they don't like. So I don't think I talked earlier about the residence building that is also being built. It's almost a remodel. We'll have about 20 rooms, I believe. It's either 18 or 20. Every room will have an outside entry so that folks can walk out onto a patio and then go into a big courtyard that's got artificial turf. Every room will have a TV. Every room will have a walk-in shower. So we're working really hard to make those rooms feel more like a hotel. As far as everything else for the students, we're making sure that the ratio of trainers to students is either 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. We're making sure that every time a student comes in, they've got an elite dog with elite training, elite instruction, and we always have 2 or 3 backup dogs. It is extremely difficult when we don't have somebody in front of us to pair somebody up with a dog. We do everything we can based on video and conversation, but we're working hard to make sure that if we don't get that match right, well, we've got another dog as a backup for them. We're examining everything from the application process through when they're here, how do we make that time most impactful and get you back home, because we know how stressful it is to be away from home. We're making sure the food's better because Chris complains about the food all the time. So we're making sure he gets his pancakes and his hash browns just done right. So yeah, everything from it. We've got robes now that students make, and if it's feasible and we can do it and it makes sense, we're doing it. One of the most impactful pieces of information that I received early on, it was, in the first week or two that I was here, I had this mindset that when students showed up, it was an exciting time. They were getting a new dog. Everything was great. And I didn't realize how stressful, how much anxiety it is involved with coming to a new place, learning new routes. We are lucky enough to be, I think, the only school that you walk 10 yards and you are on a major city street. That's very stressful. So a lot of the things that we are working on and that we examine is not necessarily dog training or, what you're learning and how you're learning it. How do we make sure that you are as comfortable as possible and that the environment that you have is the least stressful and the most conducive to learning? And I think that will have a dual effect of, hey, that's great. Who doesn't want anxiety reduction? But also that's going to minimize the amount of time you're here. We've had at least 3 students tell me when they were here, hey, I'd love to stay another week. I have no problem with this. And again, it's listening to feedback from students. And, we have a hot water problem right now. There is no way to get around it, except we now have our night stay person get up, and 10 minutes before we know the first shower is going to take place, we turn the hot water on, right? It's ridiculous. There's no reason in the new building we should ever have to do that. But right now we know it's a thing, so we can make a slight adjustment in what we're doing. Again, student feedback's important. We heard from one guy, not until he left, his bed was too firm or his bed was too soft. I don't know what it was. That's not going to happen again. We're going to figure out a way to make sure that we've got the ability to soften or firm up beds if that's what people need. So it is, I can't stress how important it is to get that feedback and how we are actually listening to it. And that's going to drive what we do for you guys.
I'm happy to hear that you're doing more. I'm proud of Pilot Dog, having an open mind and reaching out to the veterans and different other disabilities, and also helping with, the guide dog for the blind. And I know that many other schools try to work different folks in and help them as best as they can. And I know Pilot Dog, you said that everything is free to the student, to the individual. So how is financing done in getting these dogs? Because these dogs are like $8,000 or $9,000, $10,000 to be trained, and you're just giving them to an individual.
Okay, so a handful of things, Chris. I hope you're sitting down. So the dogs are not $8,000, $9,000 or $10,000 to train. They're like $37,000, $40,000, $50,000 to train, and that is not I'm not shying away from that. That is the reality of everything, whether it is flowers being planted, a new kenneling system for the dogs, air conditioning for the dogs, more trainers, all of that makes an impact on going into what the cost is going to be. What's going to lower the cost is when we can repurpose that 50%, if you assume a 50% failure or pass rate, whichever way you're looking at it, if all of those other dogs, or let's say 25% of them, 50% of them are going to another service area, then that reduces the overall cost of all of the dogs, because those dogs didn't turn into a total loss. They actually turned into something else that, whether it's profitable, however you want to call it, it's a service entity. So that's a big plus for us. The second thing is nobody here has a problem with us being able to help other folks. The concern initially and rightfully has been, wait a second, how are we going to do this? How are we going to train a service dog? How are we going to train a PTSD dog? How are we going to train a school resource dog? And without sounding like I'm patting myself on the back, all of those things are under the umbrella of what we know how to train and what we have the availability to train. And so if we can do that, great, let's do it. And it's not a big hurdle for us. Most of those disciplines are actually easier to train than a guide dog is. So and the training doesn't combat with one another, so that as the puppy's being raised, we don't have to make this fork in the road at a certain time. We keep training as if they're going to be a guide dog, and if it doesn't work out, they can potentially be a bomb dog or a sniffing dog, or they could potentially be a therapy dog. And so it really is a great fit for us. And I think that's been, admittedly, that's been tougher on the staff to absorb. How are we going to do that? Like, that's not something that we've done a whole lot of in the past, if at all. Well, yep, the first car that Honda built was the first car that Honda built. Guess what? They built 0 cars before that, and there has to be a first one. And so I have no doubt in our training abilities. I have no doubt in the quality of our dogs. So I think it'd be a great fit.
Can anyone in the state of Ohio use pilot dogs? Can they apply?
Anybody in the country, anybody in North America can apply for a dog. They have to meet certain criteria. So if you want a guide dog, but you have 20/20 vision, you're not getting a guide dog, right?
Right.
If you are not a veteran and you want a veteran assistance dog, well, you can't get a dog. So there's certain criteria, like any other school that we go through. And really that criteria is based on, we want to make sure that we've got something that can actually help you. And we want to make sure that partnership is safe and will be sound for, a decade to come.
If I live in Hawaii and I am blind, I can apply. And then, of
Yes.
course, your review board then determines, do I meet your criteria?
Anybody in North America that applies for a dog. I think we have dogs in Europe. I want to say, I know we do. That's something we're not going to do in the future because we just can't support it. If somebody in Missouri gets a dog from us and then 3 weeks later they need a home visit, well, we can get on a plane and fly to Missouri. Flying to Germany is not so easy. And so we want to make sure that are contained enough that when people need help, we can get there quickly and efficiently.
But let's suppose that I am blind. I do meet your criteria. What are my steps in acquiring the dog?
I think that's a great question. So it's an application process, no different than you're applying for college. You get online, you fill out the application process, Through that application process, it's going to ask you for some different things. We need a doctor's report or an eye report. We need a video of your routes so that we know that you've got purposeful and meaningful routes. We need a small video. This is sometimes a contentious point, but we need a small video of your house because if you live in absolute squalor and you've got 15 dogs in the house, that's something we need to know. Almost nobody has a problem with that, and that's a very low threshold item. So then we have a review board that looks through your application and just makes sure that everything is checked. And then we get a feel for your speed, have you had a dog before? Have you not had a dog? What are you going to use the dog for? And then we put you on a list to get a dog. And then as you get closer and closer to your date, we start matching you up with likely candidates. And then if you've got anything special needs that we need to know about, let's say you are on planes all the time, you just fly a lot. Well, almost all of our dogs can handle that, but that would be something that we would go out and just triple check and get your dog a little more exposure on. So the whole process, to fill out the application, get the doctor's reports and the videos, you can do that in a couple of weeks. Then to get a dog, it may be 6 months to a year. Once you're slated for a visit, we fly you to Columbus. We pick you up at the airport. We bring you to campus. We show you around campus. We give you a day or so to kind of get integrated and get your whereabouts with the campus, find out where to eat, find out where to sleep, find out where to walk, find out where to go and listen to the guitar playing and the piano playing. And then you start learning how to work with your dog. It depends on if you've had a dog before and you're just relearning. It depends on if you had a dog from another school. It depends on your skills, qualifications. I'm forgetting the day number. I apologize. It's under 3 weeks. And if it's a retrain and you've had a dog before, it may be just a week. It also depends on how long ago you had a dog. Training has evolved so much that you may have had a dog from any school or from us 15 years ago. And now you come and you're learning a whole new system. So you'll have some comfort with what it feels like when a dog's pulling you and what it feels like when a dog stops. But how we reward, how we don't correct or do correct, all of that is evolved and changed. So there's a learning curve there, I think. So that's a factor. Again, our goal is get you in, get you educated and comfortable as much as possible, but then get you out as soon as possible, right? We don't want you to stay longer than you have to, but we also don't want you to leave with incomplete information or lack of comprehension.
You talk about piloting, and I really like the ideas and things that you guys are doing for individuals in our community. And I want to donate. How could I donate to help with Pilot Dogs?
That's a great question. And I would typically just answer quickly and say, jump on the website and hit the donate button. But I think after just a lot of thought, I want you to learn about Pilot Dogs first, and I want you to read what we do, and I want you to read the website, and I want you to absorb it, and I want you to feel it. And if you don't feel it, don't send any money. Send money when you think that this is a worthwhile mission and you trust the leadership and the associates of this organization to get it done and get it done well.
If I'm going to donate, am I allowed to come and kind of just walk through and see what you do?
If somebody wants to come and see the campus, you can jump online and you can schedule a tour. And we invite that. We want people on campus. We want people to use the campus. We've got search and rescue groups and police groups that are using our buildings and using our land. And we love that. Again, anything that we can do to be of help within reason, we're going to do it. I think becoming educated and learning not just about Pilot Dogs, but about people that are blind or people that are with visual impairments, that is not an easy adjustment. And that is an endeavor that we should all learn about, understand, feel, and if it moves us, give some money, give some time, donate, come be a volunteer. All of that stuff's important to us. I think I would also want everybody to know that there isn't a day that goes by that this team working their tails off to make sure that our students and our graduates end up with the best experience possible. And it's not fabricated. People here really feel it, and people here really embrace and live the mission. It's extremely humbling.
Since it's Ohio Service Dog Awareness Week, I always want to educate folks about different service dogs, guide dogs. We got Pilot Dogs, we got Guiding Eyes there at the OSU, and then you got the Four Paws Ability and Canine Companions. Those are all great schools, and I admire every one of them for the work that they all do.
Jim, thank you.
Thank you guys very much. It's been an honor. I appreciate it.